Oh, hello. I did not see you there. Just kidding. Hi guys, it's Brandon again, back with another video. Today I want to do a really interesting one because, well, the reason that it's interesting is because it's my take on the subject. This is one of those things where it's different for everyone. It really, really is. It's like the stick size you play with, you know? It's personal to you, and it's a thing that you get to know and you get to be more comfortable with over time. The thing is with me though, I'm not comfortable with just these pair of sticks, and I've played for a while. So, you know, I play with all three of these on a regular basis, and there's more at the back. So, yes, like I said, this topic, very much like stick size, depends on you, and it can differ even to you, right? This topic that I'm going to do here today is how to improvise a beat, how to improvise a drum fill, and also how to improvise a solo, but yeah, you know, kind of thing. Now, I'm putting it out there straight from the beginning, I'm not a chops master. I am not that guy that you should come to for advice on chops. My chops are still agonizingly painful, guys. However, I do have a lot of experience with improv. Wait, that makes it sound like I don't practice. I practice, but I have a lot of experience with improv and experience with confidence in the field of drumming that I feel could be useful to everyone else. So this isn't like an all-inclusive, all-knowing type video, and I'm by no means a professional instructor. This is just what I'm choosing to share with the internet. Right, so let me actually sit properly in my drums now. Now, the basis of all improvisation, in my opinion, is that you as a drummer are basically falling back on everything that you know. By this I mean improvisation. Okay, no, that's not technically correct. It's when I say improvisation, what I'm talking about is the ability to improvise with what you do know. Okay? So when you're talking about improvising, someone asks you to improvise in this time signature that's completely whack and you've never heard of, the best policy for that, in my opinion, should just be to be straight up honest and say, listen, I've never heard of that. Can you teach me? Can you show me? Right? Because improvising in a situation like that is really gonna, most of the time it'll screw you over, okay? What I'm talking about improvising over here is improvising with what you do know in a setting or in an environment that's unfamiliar to you, okay? So in other words, you're familiar with the time signature, but you've never heard the song before in your life. Or you know the song, but you've never learned to play it, or something like that, you know? So really what we're doing here is we're asking ourselves, okay, what is everything I've ever learned in drumming, which shouldn't be that hard if you're passionate about the instrument, and how can I use that in a way that really showcases my playing in a way that is tasteful and everything, right? So, geez, I don't have a license to name any songs here, but let's just say that we're playing a certain song by a band, this band over here, right? These guys. Let's say we're playing a song by these guys about a certain person in a country called USA that they don't like. Right? So you've never played this song a day in your life, but you know it's fast, and you know it's got that weird fill, right? So you're gonna start. Right? So there's a few things you can do with certain songs. I don't know why I actually used the song example, but there's a few things you can do with certain songs that will really help you improvise especially the most important parts of your playing, in my opinion, which are the bass drum, the snare drum, and whichever hi-hat or cymbal you're using, right? Yeah, basically I just named every part of the drums except for the toms. But yeah, so the most important are these three, right? Now, first and foremost, you want to be able to lock in with the bass player. So the The bass drum is pretty important, right? Now, most of the time, you should be able, as a musician, to listen and sort of just think to yourself, okay, well, I'm just going to go along with what he's playing. Now, with a song like the one I just mentioned, the bass part is exactly the same as the guitar part, so it's really easy. You just listen for areas of emphasis, right? So the riff goes da na 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 na, right? So then the bass part, the bass drum part, for instance, you'll just go do 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 do, right? So something like that. Da na 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 na, da na 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 na. Right? Then the snare is actually really great to improvise with, along with the hi-hat, because the hi-hat, you're just going based in usually the most simple time signature, that would match the music, obviously. And the snare, you're just going whatever feels natural in a clapping motion. So if you hear a beat that's going, right, then you know that the clapping bit, in other words, the snare, will go on the second part. Right, in the same way over here. Right? So, yeah, that's basically a part of it. So how you improvise that is really up to you. The whole point of improvisation as well, like I said, it depends on whether you want people to know you're improvising or not. If you want them to know you're improvising, then the whole point is really to showcase your playing. If you don't want them to know you're improvising, that means you were probably lazy and didn't learn it, or you didn't have enough time to learn it, or something like that, right? If you don't want them to know you're improvising, in that case you want to play the most simple thing possible, because then you know that you're going to be able to stick to it, right? Go back to your basics, and you need to fall back on what you already know. For example, I'm going to play a jazz piece I've never heard of. I know that the song is in 3/4, so I'm literally, the whole song, except for maybe a part where I know that there can be a fill put in, I'm literally the whole song just going to play. Right? So in that way, you have nothing to lose, right? If you want to showcase your playing, however, okay, you need to think to yourself, okay, well, I can hear from the pulse of the song, which, by the way, doesn't exist in Middle Eastern music, so I'll have to do another video covering that. But in most Western music, the song has a pulse, right? It has something reoccurring, it has repetition, and through that repetition we can hear a pulse in the song, right? Like with most party songs, they've got what drummers refer to as a 4 on the floor, so in other words, 4 on the bass drum. Right? Now if you can hear that pulse, then you can sort of detect the time signature, right? So if someone's going, or like if the guitar is going, right? Then you can hear, okay, well there's a and then you'll realize, oh wait, this sounds a lot like 4/4 or 8/8, doesn't really matter. So then you start playing. Dun 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 na 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 na. So that's really cool, because that enables you, once you detect the pulse of the song, it enables you to understand, okay, this is what I'm going to play. And then you really ask yourself, okay, well, I know this is an 8/8 beat. Are there any cool or interesting 8/8 beats that I know that would really go with the song? If there are, play them. The main one is just, your classic, but there are others too. There's like, which I really like that particular one, because it takes the emphasis onto the cymbals and away from the snare and the bass. Different things like that. Okay, so that was how to improvise a beat. Improvising a fill is a lot more tricky because you need to stop being like me in the sense that I am unfortunately one of those guys that tends to play a fill every 2 bars, and that's not okay. It may feel great at the time, but trust me, I've been in a position of playing other musical instruments, and it's the most irritating, most annoying thing on earth to have a drummer who can not just play the freaking song, you know? So I'm trying to work on that, but yeah. So if you need to, just count out the bars to yourself, you know? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and right? So that's my general rule, is if you absolutely need to add fills in there, do it every 4 bars at very most, okay? If it were the ideal thing, I would recommend that you do a fill only building up to the chorus and going back into verses and, you know, at the end of a bridge. But, you know, it's not really fair of me to ask people to do that either. So how do you improvise a fill? Roughly the same way you improvise a drum beat, which is you find the time signature, think to yourself, okay, what do I already know? What kind of stock fills do I have? Now, a stock fill, in my opinion, is a fill that you can use in basically almost any context, in the sense that it will enable you to sound pretty cool, right? So most drummers' stock fills consist of your 16th note, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? One of my stock fills is a Travis Barker fill. It goes, you know, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? There's Tristan again, yo. So yeah, basically develop or compile yourself a list of stock fills that you can use for basically any situation, right? Like for jazz, my go-to fill is, you know, something like that. The next thing, how to improv a solo, I will actually do a whole nother video on this later. But the basis of a solo is really just, my laptop just died.